Before you write off Chapter 2's theories and theorists as boring, you should know that you, yes you, develop social theories every day to help you make sense of your experiences given the cultural and historical context you live in. For example, when you take your doctor's prescription to a crowded pharmacy during flu season and then decide you'll pick up the prescription later because your experience tells you you would feel better if you spent that time in bed resting versus in line surrounded by people coughing and sniffling all around you for the 45 minutes it would take you to get to the front of the line. Of course that's not boring. That could be a smart decision in my opinion. In this situation, in a matter of seconds, you would have formed a theory about the circumstances that led to an action based on previous experience, both cultural and historic. So wake up, pay attention, and consider how theories in this chapter are relevant to you and your surroundings. Why is social theory relevant today? Because the theoretical paradigms we use affect the way we see the world, and when theoretical paradigms clash, horrific results can occur. Consider this short clip on cyberbullying.
This half hour with a tragic story, a teenage girl who took her own life last year after she became the victim of an online hoax by people who should have known much better. We're going to talk to her parents about that in a moment, but first, here's NBC's George Lewis.
When 13-year-old Megan Meyer joined the 70 million users of MySpace.com, her parents thought they were being careful, closely monitoring Megan's computer use.
We were protecting her as much as possible. There was nothing that could have harmed her, is what we felt.
It wasn't long before Megan met someone special online. He said his name was Josh, he was 16, he found her attractive. But then, a few weeks later, Josh abruptly turned on her, breaking off the relationship. Even worse, Megan got nasty messages from others.
She didn't understand it, how everybody was almost like ganging up on her. It was her against the world.
It was all too much for the teenager. In the closet of her bedroom, she hanged herself.
And then that's when I heard the scream from Tina. And I just took off, dropped what I was doing, and ran up there as fast as I could. And that's when she was hanged in the closet.
But that wasn't the final shock. A few months later, a neighbor told them there was never any boy named Josh, that the whole thing was a hoax cooked up by a family that lived down the street.
They had made a fake MySpace, acting as a 16-year-old boy to try to gain Megan's trust to see if she was talking about their daughter behind her back.
A game invented by adults that Megan's parents say caused their daughter's suicide. One cybersecurity expert says it may have broken a new federal law prohibiting internet harassment.
This was done just to hurt a child. And when adults act like children, we need to treat them like criminals.
Now Megan's parents are hoping to warn others about the dangers of internet bullying and harassment. For today, George Lewis, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Of course, the clashing of theoretical paradigms is not always bad. As a matter of fact, it is this clashing of theoretical paradigms that have advanced our society in many practical and productive and socially responsible ways. In fact, it's this same clash in paradigms that allows teaching and learning to be online today. Speaking of teaching and learning, one modern school of thought on the purpose of education makes a distinction between visible functions of education that manifest themselves in noble purposes, like teaching students to read, write, and by teaching them the norms, values, and expectations of society. Manifest functions are clearly seen in a school's mission statement, such as the excerpt you see here. However, the latent functions of education can be altogether different, as you see in this movie clip.
Picked on.
There's a roommate now!
And put down.
I'm not kissing a nerd.
They don't have the moves. Or the muscle.
You know karate? No. Good.
But they've got the brains.
I know what we're gonna do.
It's time for the art to get even.
Their action tonight demands in immediate retaliation.
How many cameras do we have left?
This should do it.
Oh, here she comes.
Go up, go up.
Oh, no.
Oh! That nerd saw me naked!
Nerds!
Are all nerds as good as you?
Revenge of the nerds. Their time has come.
I drink to that.
Clearly, the development of social theories, even the theories we personally develop that never get published, are important to decision making and interaction with others. Before sociology was a discipline, it was influenced by biblical thought and espoused by scholars from various disciplines. 1 Corinthians 14:40 says, "Everything should be done in a fitting and orderly way." And Auguste Comte develops this idea very well in his theory on positivism and the scientific method he employed to study society. In the beginning, after the heavens, earth, and all that were contained in it were made, Genesis 1:26 says, "Then God said, Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." Harriet Martineau does an eloquent job of pointing out the dominion that man was given was not over other men or women. She pointed out that U.S. democracy, quote unquote, was flawed for condoning slavery and denying full citizenship to women. First Corinthians 12 uses the analogy of the human body. 1 Corinthians 12 uses the analogy of the human body and its many parts and functions to say it takes the whole body working in harmony to create the greater good. Herbert Spencer's use of this analogy acknowledges the need for all aspects of society to function together, but the phrase he coined, survival of the fittest, isn't always interpreted that way. While I could go on about theories and theorists, I won't, because your textbook does a great job of acquainting you with the theorists of classical thought, of modern thought, and new theoretical approaches. Bottom line is that our everyday decisions and interactions are influenced by social theories, and that's not boring. Oh, still not convinced? Okay. What would you do if you repeatedly told your son to wash the dishes and he repeatedly forgot? If you can answer that question, you have just proven the relevancy of social theories and how they influence our interactions and decisions. So what's next? I used some vocabulary that I did not explain. This was done purposefully because I want you to read chapter 2 of those chapter 2 and read, make note of those terms. Okay, also, you're going to be finishing up your small group sociologist wikis this week, again by Sunday at midnight. And it's important for us to know the backgrounds of these theorists and how their backgrounds influence the theories they espouse. In so doing, I'm hoping that you will reflect on your own background and how you influence other people, how your background influences your beliefs and your resulting behaviors. Once your sociologist wikis are posted, you will have until Sunday at midnight at the end of week 6 to view all the sociologist wikis and comment on them. Lastly, you'll be reading chapter 3 on sociological research methods. If you recall from last week, we said sociology is the systematic and scientific study of human society. Emphasis here is on systematic and scientific. When reading chapter 3, notice the quantitative and qualitative methods of sociological research. This will help you develop questions for your service learning project, assignment. So that's it for now. Don't hesitate to contact me if you need anything, if you have any questions, and otherwise enjoy your week.